Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. Baku, as you can see, is located along the shores of the Caspian Sea here on the Absheron Peninsula, sticking out here into the Caspian Sea. And this is, of course, very important to Baku's history because there's a lot of oil in this part of the Caspian, in this corner of the world, I should say. You can see some little oil tankers out here in the water. So Baku, like most oil cities in the 21st century, is very sprawling and modern with beautiful, beautiful architecture, but also has a lot of ancient history to it too. The ancient and modern histories of Baku live side by side. It's really interesting to see. I guess I'll show some of it to you now because the old city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I'm going to slide my tablet in and then I'm going to, zoom this out. I'm zoomed in really close. So Baku's kind of tiny on my map. So we can read about the walled city of Baku with the Shirvanshah's palace and maiden tower. It's built on a site inhabited since the Paleolithic period. The walled city of Baku reveals evidence of Zoroastrian, Sasanian, Arabic, Persian, Shirvani, Ottoman, and Russian presence and cultural continuity. The inner city, or that, has preserved much of the 12th century defensive walls. The 12th century Maiden Tower is built over earlier structures dating from the 7th to 6th centuries BCE, and the 15th century Shirvanshah's palace is one of the pearls of Azerbaijan's architecture. Let's look at some pictures here. Of course, we're going to look at it on Google Earth in a minute. But you can see some of the beautiful architecture here. Beautiful archways, courtyards, Maiden Tower. Very, very old watchtower. So yes, we have this gorgeous architecture here. Ancient landscapes alongside big, gleaming skyscrapers of all kinds of modern shapes. Very, very neat little place there. Let me zoom this back in and slide this out so we can look at Baku some more. So yes, as the article on UNESCO implies, Baku has been inhabited for a very long time. The earliest written evidence we have of people here in Baku is actually from about between the years 84 to 96 CE, when we have some Roman inscriptions in stone describing the inhabitants here. But of course, people have been there long since before that. In the 8th century, the Shirvanshahs showed up on the scene, which we saw in the UNESCO description of the palace of the Shirvanshahs. So who were they? The Shirvanshahs came from Shirvani, which was in ancient Persia. And Shah, of course, meaning like king, basically. So the palace of the Shirvanshahs means the king of the Shirvanis. Personally, I think Shirvanshah is just a very beautiful word in general. It sounds almost mythical, like a 1001 Arabian Nights fairy tale kind of thing. It's just really fun to say. Go ahead and say it out loud if you've never said it before. Shirvanshah. It's just a very good word. It makes my mouth happy saying it, Shirvanshah. But anyway, the Shirvanshahs arrived. They made Baku their capital in the year 1191. And it's, of course, during their reign that we have the buildup of the Maiden Tower and the old city of Baku, the walled city of Baku. It's during this time. The Safavids would take control of the city, however, in 1501, another Persian empire. And power between them would go back and forth between the Safavid Persians and the Russians, depending on who won what war. That power would come in and take over, then the other one would. Mostly it was the Persians that had control of Baku, but the Russians would step in every so often and take control. It wasn't until the Treaty of Gulistan in 1813, after a big war between Russia and Persia, that Russia would officially claim this city and hold on it for quite some time, especially after the 1840s, because that's when the oil was discovered. I think it was discovered a little bit earlier, but they started to drill it in the 1840s. And I'm just thinking now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I definitely read this somewhere, but I didn't write it down. But I believe that Baku is the oldest oil drilling site in history, like in terms of how we drill oil today. The industry started here in Baku, I'm pretty sure. It's either the first or it's the oldest still operating oil drilling site. Or maybe both. I'm not positive. Let me know in the comments, any Azerbaijani, or just anyone with more knowledge about that topic than me. Because again, I read that somewhere, but I could be remembering it wrong because I didn't write it down. But moving right along in history, of course, the oil industry created quite a boom here in terms of population and infrastructure. Russian control of the city would, of course, fade off in 1918, since there was just a little revolution happening up in the Russian Empire with the Tsar being overthrown. Just, a little thing that just changed Russia forever, So for about 2 years, this area was independent. During that time, the Ottoman Empire tried to come in and conquer, but the city managed to defend itself, and they maintained that independence until 1920, when Soviet Russia came back to claim what was technically once theirs, and they held control until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. The post-Soviet age of Baku is dominated by Heydar Aliyev, who formally took control of not just Baku, but all of Azerbaijan after the Soviet Union crumbled. And pretty much everything in Baku is the Heydar Aliyev blank, like the big airport. It's the Heydar Aliyev Airport. We have like the Heydar Aliyev Cultural Center, his museum, everything, parks, you name it, streets. It's all named after Heydar Aliyev. And the beautiful architecture, skyscrapers, things like that, really started to take off in around the, I'd say, mid-2000s, early 2010s. It's now a very beautiful architectural wonder of a city with the flame towers and a big shopping mall that has a big round building. Like, not like an orb. It's like art-shaped. It's really interesting. I'll show it to you on Google Earth in a minute. And that, in a very brief nutshell, is the history of the city of Baku. I could have gone far deeper into the history there of all the back and forth between the Persians and Russians. But that's it in a nutshell. That's all you need to know about Baku. Of course, it's still the capital of Azerbaijan today, by far its largest city. And I'm gonna probably start off with showing you Yanar Dog, which is probably not how you pronounce it in Azeri, but that's how you pronounce it in English. Yanar Dog is about like just north here of the city. It's technically in the city limits. It is one of those Soviet environmental oopsies, kind of like what you see in Turkmenistan at the gates of hell, A Soviet whoopsie, where a fire started on a hillside, but underneath that hill is a bunch of natural gas. So that fire started, during Soviet times. I don't know the exact date the fire started, but it's still going. And it's a point of national pride. Baku's nickname is the City of Flames, or the City of Fire, I should say. And fires become like the whole cultural identity of Azerbaijan. But yeah, why don't I stop yapping and let's head over to the tablet and check out the City of Fire. Here we are in Baku. Let me grab my pencil to show you. That's the wrong pencil. This pencil. Baku. But we're going to start by zooming out to show you exactly where we are in the world. Some of you may never have heard of Azerbaijan. That's totally fine. You're just learning. If you didn't know, now you know. And that's a great thing, isn't it? So we are in a region known as the Caucasus, which is this area here wedged between the Black Sea and Caspian Sea. It's very, very mountainous, the Caucasus Mountains, and it's one of those natural divisions between Europe and Asia. It's debatable whether the Caucasus are European or Asian, because geographically it's part of Asia, but culturally it's part of Europe. So you could go back and forth with people all day. I had someone comment, who I think was from Georgia, I want to say, that said, listen, we are Eurasian. And I think that's the perfect answer. It's Eurasian. So here's Azerbaijan. And here you can see the Absheron Peninsula sticking out, jutting out into the Caspian Sea. I didn't take a look on my research, but last time I was perusing around, here we go, around Azerbaijan, all of these oil drilling centers are blurred out. Let's see. It's not as blurry this time. But there's quite a kind of like a large oily city here, based in the Caspian and in other parts too. Just like way out here, there's random little oil rigs out. But last time I tried hunting them down to look at them, like I said, they were all blurred out. The government does not want you snooping around their sites. And that's okay, we don't need to. But here's Baku. I told you I'd start with Yanar Dog, didn't I? Let's see if I can remember where it's located. It's somewhere up here in the north. Let me see. I'm really far from the tablet here. I'm in a new filming setup while my family and I relocate. It's somewhere up here. I may just have to type it in. But you know what I'll show you actually first, since it popped up? The mud volcano. Azerbaijan has the largest population concentration of mud volcanoes. And mud volcanoes are exactly what they sound like. They are volcanoes, but instead of lava, they spew mud. Azerbaijan has tons of them, and it looks like there must be one big one up here on this hillside. That's pretty cool, right? Let's find it. I'm sure it's saved in my search. Yeah, Yanar Dog. Let's see how close I was. Oh, I wasn't far off. Yanar Dog. So here it is. We looked at this place before on my channel, since technically this site is also in the Absheron region, which I've already done a video on. But we'll look at it again because it's a very, very famous site in Azerbaijan. Probably one of the most famous. So here's the fire, as you can see. It's still going strong. And will burn for who knows how long. Probably like thousands of years, to be honest. As long as that natural gas underneath this hillside continues to spew out from the earth. You see it there. So yes, this is a point of pride, unlike Turkmenistan, who's ashamed of their big Soviet non-stop fire. Azerbaijan's very proud of theirs, and they have this neat cultural outdoor museum here to get more people out to learn more about their culture and not just look at this flaming hillside. Just learn more about Azerbaijan. I think that's really neat. But let's head into the city itself. Where shall we start? Here's the Heydar Aliyev Center. I'll show you at least the outside because it is beautiful architecture. Say what you will about Heydar Aliyev and the Aliyev family, which still has a strong grip on Azerbaijan's government. This is a beautiful building. Let's be real. Let's set all the opinions about the Aliyevs aside and just soak in these beautiful marble here. It looks like you could just bend it with your hands. It looks like it's made out of plastic. It's really gorgeous. We'll look at the flame towers in a second. It's another point of pride of Azerbaijan. Another beautiful building is the Carpet Museum, which is special because it is shaped like a giant carpet. Just brilliantly designed here. Like a big rolled up carpet. And these are absolutely gorgeous. I think if I ever get to visit Baku one day, I think this place is going to be my first stop. Because these carpets are absolutely stunning. And all woven by hand, too. You can even see here an ancient depiction of carpet weaving. How special is that? Look, even this horse is all decorated in carpets. Oh, wow. Interesting. It's definitely telling some kind of story, isn't it? I'm sure there's some really neat stories here. So pictures may have trouble loading sometimes for the foreseeable future because I'm staying with family. Look at this. And their internet just isn't as fast as what I'm used to. So some pictures may take a moment to load. Look at this fully carpeted house here. All the furniture is made out of carpet too. There's the flame towers in the background. We'll go look at them in a minute. Before that, I want to show you the old city that we talked about, the UNESCO site. Right here. This is the old city. You can see here the palace of the Shirvan Shahs. Let's take a look. Gorgeous. So you can see what I mean. This beautiful old architecture, all like washed out from the sun, all like just the color of mud, next to beautiful modern skyscrapers. You can see what life was once like in this city. And you're free to come here and roam around and explore all of the sites, which I think is really interesting. This would definitely be, another stop in my tour of Baku, of course, but I still think I'm going to hit up the Carpet Museum first. It's so beautiful. It's fun even to look around from above, right? You can see the old mosques in there as well. But let's do I think our final stop is going to be the Flame Towers. Oh no, I have to show you that shopping mall I told you about. But here are the Flame Towers. You can see. Which light up in all kinds of beautiful colors, which of course is meant to look like flickering flames. Hopefully these load so you can see, because there's some cool pictures of there. Really neat lights. I think in this slideshow Here's the view. The inside. Never really think about what's inside. It's a pretty old mosque. Big lotus flower building. Maybe it's not on this ledge. But, oh, see, that's the shopping mall. Maybe I'll just show you that. You don't need to see it up close. That's pretty much all you'll see. It's a big shopping mall. Isn't that cool? But yeah, these towers light up all different kinds of colors. Ooh, fancy. Like many famous buildings around the world, like the Empire State Building, the Eiffel Tower, so on and so forth. This is another famous building that can light up in whatever color or design it needs to be for holidays, special events, what have you. Ooh, big fancy piano there. Very fancy. But I think that was all the highlights to show you. Of course, there's a lot more. There's the Baku Eye, I guess I'll show you. Very similar to the London Eye. Right there. Lots of other sites to see around here. There's the big shopping center. The Corniche here. But I highly encourage you to check it all out on your own and explore it for yourself. Because there's a lot more to see. I just showed you the highlights and my favorite parts. I think what's also interesting about cities like Baku is that you can see the beautiful modern parts next to the regular parts, the regular old residential parts. It's a city that's ever growing and growing and growing. But I think I'm going to stop there for tonight. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. The next video is going to be quite different because it is a town in Malawi in Africa. It's going to be a short video, sadly. But if you've never heard of Malawi, which a lot of people haven't or even know where it's located, then maybe you should stick around to check it out and maybe you'll learn something really cool. I hope you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good